Hello, team. Today is 23rd of June, 2021, and it's Ryan here, and today's day 34, Rethink Tasty Community. Okay, so welcome all to my research and develop 100 days. So R&D 100 days is rethink followed by development. Okay, and today is day 34. So we are talking about rethinking tasty community and following up on last week's topic, also on rethinking tasty community. And last week was more on the good news sharing part, but this week will be more on the health part, which I've briefly touched upon on the tasty community, but today I will expand on it a whole lot. Okay? So, the traditional and tasty community on the health level, right? Let's talk about the traditional community at first. Okay? In the traditional community, people are not dependent on each other for health. You could, but it's very not systemized, which means that it's pretty random and pretty unlikely that you will find uh, someone reliable that you can trust on each other for the health, right? Um, so right now in the traditional community, what do we have scattered around the community? What do we have scattered? Well, we definitely have a whole bunch of doctors scattered around and clinics, right? And dentists, right? And that is where we get our primary source of health um, information, right? So there's and as I mentioned within the past few weeks, it has become a one-stop shop, where it is a one-size-fits-all package, right? The traditional community, right? How likely are you going to go to your neighbors or the other elders in your community and be like, oh no, my health needs help, right? Unless they're super close friends, which how many of them can you have in a single community or in a single development, right? So the tasty community, however, in this new community, we will accept the health and the exercise components of the community members, right? Now, you might be wondering, why are we letting the community be involved in our health, right? Because we want people to give the inputs on each other on what worked for them as well, right? You don't want to do a one size fits all, right? That's something we want to avoid, right? And this, I believe, will help solve that problem, right? By getting the inputs of, let's say, of people from China, right? And they have the Chinese traditional medicine or herbs that can help you, right? And I don't require the doctor's intervention, right? Um, and you might be wondering, well, what happens if I exit the community, right? Don't I still need to rely on the doctors? Well, the good news is no, you don't have to, right? The tasty community, this will follow people around wherever you go, right? Um, there can be also tasty community volunteers or helpers or assistants to help you um, along the way, right? It doesn't have to be um, a foreign doctor that you don't know, but someone that you trust, right? Let's and and you might be wondering, well, how can we start to get rid of these doctors? We're not getting rid of them, and you might be asking, well, why are you telling us to ignore it? Well, let's say, how many times do you get sick and you go and you ask the internet, right? how often do you get sick and you ask Google, right, or WebMD, right? Like, what's going on, right? Um, and that's and so now, but and what is the likeliness that you shall trust them, right? And to even of us, it may be quite high. But with the new tasty community, you have maximum trust in in the community members, right? Um, we are like brothers and sisters um, to each other, right? There's been volunteers or community helpers to help you along the way wherever you go. If you want to go a road trip, well, there you are. It's a whole network, right? And that you can and that you know who they are. It's not like Reddit and they tell you to, oh, you should do this to solve that problem, and then you just take it, right? That will put you big at risk. So this diminishes risk. Okay. Something very important when it comes to um, medical health. There's going to be people to be around you, right? If you go on vacation or if you go on a business trip, the Tasty community follows them around, right? People's trust are close trust, not and they're not too remote like forums, right? Or even a traditional community. Everything is super remote and feels very stranded. Okay, you won't feel lonely wherever you go, and you'll always have help at an arm's reach, right? If you leave your physical community, for example, right? They follow you to work, to school, right? To vacation or travel, right? If you haven't realized, in the traditional community, which is in the United States right now, the loneliness component is extremely high, right? Because we don't invest too much in developing a community for each other, right? Not we invest in doctors and health insurance and social security like that, and especially in this COVID-19 time, right? This health is a question mark that follows you, right? So at a health aspect, Tasty Community is much better than a traditional community. You always have the instant and reliable and trustworthy information. And like last week, this Tasty Community will help you um, feel better and have less stress and less worry wherever you go. So Tasty Community has got your back wherever you go, right? And now, since I have some time left, I just want to sort of briefly say on last week what to share about last week, just in case you forgot. Okay, right. So last week we mainly talked about the. It's not just relegated to senior people, but anybody can help with the experience, and that as long as you trust them, right? And these are the same people that can help within the health aspect. Okay. And in life, there are more variety, more connections, right? And this can help people reduce stress, reduce less frustration. It can just bring down the entire health problem rate in general, right? Because we have a very friendly way of sharing our thoughts, right? You don't need to be afraid about misspeaking out of line or political um, correctness, right? So that's pretty much it off to short topic. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about developing tasty community, and we might also talk about the health aspect, but that is yet to be decided. Okay, so thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.